Check 1 2, check 1 2. Miami on the Rocks, Casey Chopz. Make sure you follow us on Instagram at MIA on the Rocks. Follow us on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Today's guest, my brother. I was on his podcast and we had a dope 3-hour conversation. Effortless, it flowed. And I got Wes from the Black Sheep podcast here. What's up, my bro?
What's up, baby boy? Good to see you again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's very important to me that, you know, the podcast community, especially here in Miami and South Florida, we all support ourselves and support each other.
No doubt.
And you know, Wes, you started your podcast and it's been making noise. And, you know, it's only right that I have you on my show. And,
Appreciate it,
and
man.
I'm excited for you pulling up. And let's get into it, bro. For the people that don't know, Wes has a history, you know, trials and tribulations, overcoming, you know, struggles in life. And he's, you know, made it out and he's, you know, doing his thing in the podcast realm, and you do your thing. You're a trainer as well, correct?
Exactly. Right.
And you grew up in Kendall? Or?
No, actually, born and raised in Miami, without a doubt, but the southern region. You know, it's funny, man, I thought about this. I actually had to look this up one time. We used to claim that we were born in Cutler Ridge, but technically, that really was not the area that we were born and raised in. Technically, that area, according to the demographic, like if you look at the map quest and look at all those details, it's supposed to be Perrine.
I was going to say, is that Perrine?
Yeah, it's Perrine. It technically is Perrine because I was looking at Carib Villas. I was looking at every surrounding neighborhood, all the names it has, all the shit that Pitbull has shouted out. Fucking
making sure the shout outs are valid.
Trick Daddy, yeah, no, all of it. Yeah. They're all valid. Well, it's not that they weren't valid. It's just, you know, you grew up in the hood and you just start claiming something like, yeah, we're from here. So it really wasn't Cutler Ridge, but it was literally half a block away from Southridge High School. If you guys are local, those of y'all listening, but technically Miami, Perrine area, South Miami area on the west side of US 1. It's not Cutler Bay where that shit gets all pretty right now. Nah. But born and raised there. That was the majority of my life was done there, right there.
Right. And okay. And what high school did you go to?
Should have gone to Southridge again. That shit was right down the street from us. But, you know, back then Southridge was just so hood. And it was, we're talking about the 80s, you know, early 80s going into the mid 80s. So we're just getting out of, you know, that fucking awesome painting behind you, cocaine. Yeah. Those cocaine cowboy type days.
What was that like, Wes? Like you said late 80s, early 90s?
Yeah, well, I mean, the cocaine cowboys day was more late 70s going into the early 80s.
Right, exactly. So this is after that.
Yeah.
So what is that time like?
But as a youngin', you remember, you know, every youngin' remembers differently, but you remember the way you was raised up and what you saw and what you witnessed. And, you know, this is a hood that we grew up in. This is, if anybody want to look it up, the projects right beside us was Hollywood Squares. That was the Hollywood Square Projects. That's exactly what it's called. We all remember the show. If you don't, then you obviously you're too young. Hollywood Squares was a TV show. This project complex was considered Hollywood Squares. And it was connected right across the street from Southridge High School. It was already bad enough as it is. It's a hood. We were that hood right next to it that had a lot of migrants, a lot of the Cuban population that was moving in to the black neighborhoods. And that's where we were at, right across the street from Southridge High School. That's when the 80s kicked in. That's when the cocaine stuff happened. We didn't know that it was cocaine based. Yeah. But you saw the violence. We were always on lockdown. There was so many times coming home from dinner, from school, from whatever, helicopters chasing, lockdowns happen. You can't leave your house or you can't enter into your neighborhood. Many times we had somebody, you know, jumping into our backyard. Bunch of crazy shit that you see on TV, like real shit, no bullshit, shit that you see on TV. That's what we happened. So as youngins, we couldn't connect it to the cocaine, you know, aspect of it. But we just knew we were growing up in a bunch of, you know, shit. We saw a lot, we witnessed a lot, and we heard a lot, we heard about a lot. So yeah, those were those days, you know, it did something to you, but it didn't always have to be negative. But we definitely grew up being fast forwarded more than your average, you know, youngin'.
Yeah. And you've talked about your podcast. You've talked on your podcast about, you know, you did time, right?
Right.
You did. How long were you in for what years?
So with the whole time bid, you know, and this is actually the first time I talk about it like this. I think I did it on the coffee breakup for a little short bid, but I just got out of high school. Basically first year of college, just starting college. And in short, I had a DUI manslaughter. I was taking a female friend of mine at the time home. And basically thought, like anybody else who would make that bad decision, that I was good enough to drive. And to this day, I thought I was. I still think I was. But obviously, given the circumstances, one has the right to think otherwise. But I dropped her off home, and on the way back, right in front of West Perrine, right in front of the Eureka area. If you're local, Eureka 184, right by the recycling bin, there was a homeless man who was crossing the street, and I hit him and was unaware of it. Didn't know what I hit. Came back, turned around, realized it. Obviously a horrible scene, so on and so forth. Everything proceeded. So, in due time, I was charged with DUI manslaughter, and took a plea bargain and ended up doing, they gave me 6 years and ended up doing 5 years, 1 month, 3 days. And as we like to say, a wake up. Got to wake up in there. It's not going to be a full day, but you woke up in there. So you got to claim that too.
Yeah. So, damn. So are you like, did that do anything to you traumatically? Like, did you deal with any, as far as maybe drinking, as far as did that, like, how did that touch your mental?
There's many ways to break that down. Obviously, I'm not going to make this some psychological fucking show, but everybody deals with a traumatic experience differently. The actual experience itself leaves the impact that it has. I don't want to come off negative anyway. The actual accident, that actual occurrence, I haven't thought about that in years. Years. We're talking about this happened.
It was a minute ago.
Yeah, this was 1996. Was when the accident happened. Anyone should teach themselves to get over something, whether it's an ex-girlfriend or some bad decision, whatever it is. So, I haven't thought about that in any shape or form where it affects me in any type of negative way for the longest time. Initially, obviously, that's something to
just overcome.
Take in. You can't even overcome it because it hasn't even settled. It can take you from a year to 2 to 3. My whole prison sentence is like, damn, that whole part of my life just went away because I took somebody else's life. Yeah. And it didn't even feel like I took somebody else's life because it was so accidental and so on and so forth. So that impact was different. Almost on the lower end of an impact. But the impact of being in prison, that itself was traumatic in a way of, you're left with a PTSD of some shape or form.
You're saying when you get out?
Yeah. You can do 4 years in college football and whatever dumbass shit you did or whatever hit you took or, it's gonna have a certain impact on you that not everybody's gonna know about. If it wasn't traumatic, of course, not as much, but if it was, it will. So these 5 years that I did in there, the things that I was, let me make sure I say this right so it doesn't come off like I got raped or anything like that, but the things I was forced to do by officers, by correctional officers, the way they talk to you, the belittlement, condescending ways, forcing you to shave your face. If anyone of Casey's fans wants to ever get with me, you will never get me to shave my face. That's some PTSD shit.
Talk about it. But I think it's crazy to me that like your situation is like, oh, man, I don't know how I would be able to digest that because it's not like you were already doing crime and it was something that you could expect that could happen, that you might have to go to jail, this is something that you were living a straight life and you just made a mistake one night and just a split second, like you just get blindsided by something and now you're doing jail for 5 years.
It's a shitty situation for all sides. There's no way that, and I've been doing this and saying this for years. That guy was a homeless man. And he had just got out of prison 3 months before I hit him. And I think he did like a couple of years. And he had gone back and forth a couple times. That means shit. I took a man's life. And I did it from some form of negligence. Whatever it is you want to call it. Just to be clear, and I'm not saying this in defense. I'm saying this because to this day, over 20 years later, that I stick by it. I had both my eyes had astigmatism. Both of them have horrible vision. I got LASIK surgery as of like almost 10 years ago. I wasn't wearing glasses. I didn't have glasses. I thought I was too fucking cool for summer school. I was that dude. I don't want glasses. That's some nerdy shit. And I've always been called out on some comical shit when we go looking for parties or stuff like that because I'm the one driving because I'm a little bit older or whatever it was. I had to pull up on a fucking street sign and just look right up under it. Like, damn, what is that? I was like, that shit says 163, all right. And all my boys are laughing at me. My vision was horrible. What happened to that gentleman that day was from an accumulation of all kind of shit. Bad vision. Street light was broken where it happened. This is the hood. He had dark clothes on, all kind of whatever. But you cannot take away that I had the equivalence of 4 beers in my system is what it was. It was the equivalent of 4 beers in my systems. But nonetheless, it did happen. And I don't want to downplay that.
Right.
And it impacted so many lives. So for my bounce back, it's just more so of people don't understand what you guys, everybody sees the movies as well. When I first went in and I'm 6'2", 6'2" and a half. At the time, I might have been like 6'1" or whatever. I was a big kid.
You did time in Miami?
No, almost all of it was in Central Florida, BCI.
Like Brevard?
Brevard.
Okay.
That's the gladiator camp, if anybody want to look that up. But, I was locked up with a bunch of fucking wild ones. I wish I went to any other adult prison. I really wish. Any other adult prison, because you're talking about getting all the gang members who averaged between 16 to 18 years old and putting them all in one prison. That was the majority of 1,100 inmates in this prison. The majority was that category right there.
Wow.
And all they did was try to recruit me because I'm big.
Right.
The Latinos wanted me on their side because I'm Latino.
Right.
The down south boys wanted me on their side because I'm from Miami.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm not joining or running with no one. So it was tough. A lot of fights, a lot of, testing me, a lot of this. But
so you didn't really run with anybody like a clique? You just kind of, wow.
Never. My first closest friend was this random ass black dude who looked like Wesley Snipes, but he was like 5'8", ripped to the fucking I don't know what, from Pensacola.
So I want to go through the mental. I do want to get into like the psychology of it. So how do you deal with this day to day? You're doing 5 years, right? At least in your mind, you get in your I got to sit down for 5 years. How do you adapt to that? How do you condition yourself mentally to just not go crazy?
Well, I mean, I'm going to say all the right things because I think I did most of them. But the truth is that it's the type of person that you were built to be before you got there that's going to determine how you handle everything. You're not going to just come up with the formula. Luckily, I saw enough, been through enough, so on and so forth, pulled out of it and thought like, okay, I'm trying to be the right version of me. When I started going to college, I was the first out of mine. I got an older brother and a younger brother. My younger brother was, gang related, big time. He was in a gang. My older brother, for just a whole another weird story on his own, he became like an outcast, just like a very gamer, nerdy, doesn't want to talk to us. He just felt like so disconnected from all of us. And I was the only one that was in the middle of everybody. And I thought I was doing good, and I felt like I was doing good in all the right ways. So, when this happened, even though I came off when I got there, I was like one of the only kids who had been to college out of the whole camp.
Yeah.
And it stood out, and it made these people think like, oh, it must be some nerd, it must be some square or something.
Yeah.
And then, this hood came out of me, because that's where I grew up and everything. So the hood and the willingness to fight there, and I'm not saying that's what everybody should do.
Right.
But that's how I was bred. I grew up a certain way.
A fighter,
and I was like, I'm going to hold my ground. And I didn't join a gang when I was out here, and I hated that my brother was in a gang. I'm not going to join a gang when I'm in here. When I went in KC, to be honest with you, bro, and it's not the right mind frame, I almost had like not a death wish. And nobody was hoping to die. But I thought because of all the movies, everything you hear about, like, oh, somebody's going to try to take my ass. We're going to fight. They're going to kill me. Somebody's going to want me to join their gang. I'm going to say, fuck you. We're going to fight. They're going to kill me. I just kept thinking, oh, the end result is I'm going to get stabbed and probably die. Yeah. And that's just what I thought. For my first 2 years, my mind was poisoned. It was poisoned.
Like, so you were like probably defensive, like trying to figure out what this is, if it's like the movies, and how much of that lived up to that. Like, I'm sure you got into at least one fight or.
Oh no, I got in way more fights than that. But it's not like the movies. First of all, it's not like the movies, and I hate to hear people say that it is because it's not. If it's anything like the movies,
well, this is like Rikers Island in like '95 in New York City.
There you go.
Some crazy shit.
You're either referring to that or you're referring to certain prisons on the West Coast that are heavily, heavily gang influenced through a separation of blacks, whites, and they won't even call them whites. You're just going to say Aryans or Mexicans. And I don't care what race you are. You're running with the Mexicans. If you're like that and that heavy, cartel, Aryan Brotherhood, Black Guerrilla Mafia, things of that, okay, that's different. That's another, I'm not going to, that's their business. I don't know. Almost everybody else, bullshit. Mind your business. Stay in your lane. Don't get into the drug trade. Because just like out here, that'll get you fucked up. Pay up on time, do whatever it is just like out here. Yeah. And don't fuck with somebody's bitch. And then you're like, well, somebody's bitch, what do you mean? Yeah, somebody's bitch, somebody's punk, somebody's boyfriend, bitch, whatever. Mark, don't flirt with them, don't do any of that. Yeah. You abide by those rules, you're smooth.
It's the same code. It's the same code on the outside.
That's all it is. But in my prison, it wasn't like that. These aren't adults. These are a bunch of fucking kids, man. It was.
And how old were you at the time?
I was, when I went in, I had just turned 20. And when I got out, I just finished turning 25.
Got you.
And these kids were like, honestly, I can't exaggerate this, man. Anybody can research this. It was like some Braveheart war scene, minimum once a month, minimum. Latin Kings versus folk, Crips versus Bloods, down south boys versus up north. Yeah. It was stupidity. Wow. And it was hard to, but, in retrospect, and I know we were talking about eventually, how I started, bouncing back from all that. And it's been a long road, but what held me grounded throughout that process was I told my mom, I said, hey, I know this is all fucked up. And she was the one that was hurting the most out of everybody. No one was hurting more than my mom. And that's my best friend. We talked about that on our podcast. And I know your mom is very, very close to you. I said, look, I promise you, I'm going to treat this like if I went to college. Yeah. I'm going to come out a better man. I'm going to come out smarter, more productive. I'm going to dig deep into business. I'm going to this, I'm going to that. I just need you to just focus on sending me certain magazines, certain books, stay by my side, blah, 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 blah. That bond, that teamwork. And bro, I got locked up a lot. And when I say I got locked up, I mean, every prison has a jail within the prison. And then you have a prison within the prison. If I'm in prison with you and we're out and about like normal guys, if I punch you in front of an officer, that's a battery. That's an assault. Before they take me to court to prove that, I go to jail. They saw me punch you. I get arrested. I go to a jail. There's a jail within the prison. Yeah. Now I'm holding in a holding cell and it sucks and all this. And I'm waiting about a week or two to go to court. Court is lieutenants, captains, wardens, whatever. Right. And then you get sentenced according to the crime. Right. And then you get sentenced to a prison within the prison. And that's it's either isolation or you're isolated with one person, but you're doing time within time. Right. Okay. That happened to me several times because I started hustling within because there wasn't enough money and I was hungry and it was tough times. But minus that, because I did it because I just felt like I had to in order to not, I don't want to say starve, but it was just rough. My parents could not afford it. They fed us like shit. And this was one of the worst parts about the system. And your last meal is like at 5:30. Who the hell's not hungry from 5:30 to going to sleep time? Ain't nobody doing, fasting in there on purpose. Yeah. So I started hustling. And aside from that, I told my mom I would do everything I can to not, make this a bad experience. And I did for the most part, and it took its effect. But, I got out clear-headed and back to society. Let's rock and roll.
Does the time go by slow? Does it go by fast? How did it?
Everybody's different, man. But I think for the most part, it went by fast, to be honest with you. Fast? Yeah, believe it or not. It kind of sounds crazy, but yeah. But then you got guys who are fucking counting down days.
Or like go crazy with the religion and get into like, what do you think turns people into that? Like just
they're at their worst.
Got you.
They're at their lowest. When you're at your lowest, what do? You look up. Yeah. What's left? Hey, I didn't holler at you, and it's not. I'm not a religious man at all. But hey, I didn't reach out to my God. I didn't reach out to whoever during this, and not look where I'm at. Look, how do I get out of here? Let me reach out to him now. Yeah. And you can either turn that isolation, whether you're on a fucking hike up the Himalayan mountains and you got a week to do all on your own, or you're in prison or whatever it is, or COVID.
Word. Yeah.
We talked about this on the podcast. What do you do with that isolation? What do you do with that? You now got time to
dead
focus.
Time. Exactly. What are you going to turn it into?
Exactly. I've met some of the dopest artists, rappers. When I say artists, I mean artistically. Rappers, mathematicians, business people, you name it. You name it in prison.
That's crazy, bro. I saw a quote. This girl tweeted it, and I was like, damn, I really like that quote. And she said, a man who doesn't have a purpose will always fulfill his life pleasure seeking.
Makes
so
sense.
what that means is like, you know, if in COVID, if you didn't have a purpose or find a purpose, you were just a crackhead for dopamine and pleasure, and whether you got addicted to something or whatever
Right,
you did, you know what I'm saying? So I thought that was a dope quote, that a man needs his purpose, so you don't just be a crackhead for pleasure and find it. You know what I mean? Like,
I think something that would complement that would be if you fail to plan, you obviously plan to fail. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Mm-hmm. If you're not planning, then you must be planning to fail because you have no plan.
Yeah,
you got
a lot of people have nothing to plan for.
Well,
you know,
they got to figure something out. You know, we can't all sit back on excuses. You know, and again, I've been there. I know I'm in a good spot now, but it's been a struggle. And I know that you were alluding to that earlier. It's been a struggle. I've had ups and downs. I came out. Mm-hmm. They gave me 5 years probation. I did 3 years, and I got early termination.
Nice.
You know, when I went in, I wasn't a huge weed smoker, but I did like to smoke weed. But I wasn't huge. I wasn't no burnout or anything like that. Mm-hmm. When I got out, man, it was crazy. And, you know, my mom can attest to this. You know, and I name drop my mom a lot because that's my dog. That's my best friend. It's none of that. Oh, my mama's boy. Nah. That's my dog. You know, she's my ace. And, you know, I put her through the most. And she remembers when I'm out, bro, I was having these weird ass nightmares. I call them nightmares because I was always on some just evil shit.
When you got out or while you were in?
While I was out. On some evil shit, whether it led to just like some weird multi-murder shit or some crazy crime shit. And it was just things that didn't fit me.
Yeah.
It wasn't fitting.
Yeah.
And I remember I decided to smoke. I'm like, you know what? We used to beat the system when we were inside. Those tests are weak. They're weak as fuck. And if you again, you have so much time to yourself that you figure things out. And you got these guys who just figured out this science. It's like, hey, if you take 4 hits of a joint this fucking, you know, thick, because they were like toothpicks, you know, okay? It wasn't a real joint. Would you take 4 hits? All you need is a gallon of water. In 3 days, you're clean. Like, they had the formulas, and they were efficient. Because the state's not going to pay for some high-end test that can detect, you know, 3 weeks ago type, you know, shit. No, they're going to get the cheapest shit out of Walmart, you know? So I knew once I was already a year and a half into probation, I saw the test that they were using on me, and they do it randomly, and I'm like, that's the same weak ass shit that they used in, you know, inside the joint. So these nightmares were so bad. I just losing sleep. It was weird. It had me feeling a certain way. I started smoking. It went away right away.
Wow.
When I tell you it went away right away.
Smoking takes away your dream state.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I mean.
That's why when you stop smoking and you get crazy nightmares and dreams and shit, vivid dreams, lucid dreams, that happens like right when you quit smoking.
And it's funny because I know that people talk, and I'm a fan of it. People talk about lucid dreams being something positive, you know, especially if you can average it. And when you average it, you can find out a way to manipulate the dream. And
well, there's a message in it. There's a message in the dream, and it doesn't like if you dream that you killed someone, that doesn't mean you're going to kill someone. That just means that within that dream, maybe you have. You know, I don't know. There's dream interpreters that will fucking interpret that shit for you. But.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the few things, and I can argue aliens and all kind of stupid shit, but that's one of those few things where leave that shit alone. We have no proof. The biggest experts in the world are saying that we're barely knocking on the door of dreams. And I know that right now they have some type.
We don't know shit about the brain, bro. Like,
yeah, exactly.
No, we don't know, bro. We know like 10% of what the brain can do. Like, isn't that nuts to think about?
You know,
like, what are they going to find out about our brain in 20 years, bro? That we can do or do this for your brain and it changes your life in this drastic way. Like, that's possible.
Look, let me have a quick nerdy moment on your podcast, right?
No, let's bring it.
I was telling this young girl, I'm training my client, and she brings her 7-year-old daughter. 7-year-old daughter is playing around on the mats while I'm training her on the squat rack or whatever. And the 7-year-old daughter, she is so animated. She's like, "Hey, tell me a legend." I'm like, "A legend? What the fuck you mean a legend?" And I basically get it out of her. She wants to hear like some like, you know, folklore. Like, did you know? Did you ever hear this? And whatever. And I'm not going to talk about some fucking, you know, native American who did this and did that when I don't know all that shit. So I told her this story of an actual science project that basically shook the world, if you want to call it, the scientific community. And, you know, it was crazy because I got nerdy on her for a second. But I had to explain. But she ran with it. She ran with the whole what I was telling her, and it was very talking about the laws of what's it called? Not physics, quantum physics. Mm-hmm. And I basically told her that in a nutshell, and I don't want to drag it on. In a nutshell, they put a guy in a bubble, kind of like an apartment bubble where they just watch him. Mm-hmm. And they said, hey, we're going to guide you through everything. You got nothing to worry about. You're going to eat, shit, sleep, whatever. You're going to do it all right here. It's all good. The only thing that we're going to alter, and we want to see how you react and how your brain reacts, and we want to see at what time it reacts, is we're going to put some goggles, like some big-ass goggles on you, like some glasses or whatever, and it's going to flip your vision backwards. So if you put those goggles on, we're still right here doing everything we're doing, but you're going to see it like we're backwards. You know, like we're fucking, our feet are in the ceiling. You feel me?
Got you.
Okay. So that was it. That was the project. So they put the shades on the dude or whatever. Dude's like 7 days in, everything's backwards, and he's just moving slow, but he's adapting, you know, because whatever. 8th day, 9th day, his brain starts flickering. His vision starts flickering, like it's going in and out of trying to go back to normal. But he's never taken these off. So remember this what's going on. Physically, we have altered your vision. Physically, we have put something on top of you. There's nothing psychological about this. Physically, we just changed your vision.
Right.
Within like the 10th, 11th day, it was flickering more towards back to normal and less towards upside down. That kept happening up until like the 13th, 14th day. And then the guy was like, it's no longer flickering. I'm back to normal. And they're like,
even with the goggles on.
With the goggles on, bro. This is some dead ass
so
real
his
shit.
brain adapted to the upside and switched it on him. Like
brain told physical body, even though you're giving me this, we know differently, and we somehow fixed it. Brain, all on its own, the brain.
Bro.
But it gets deeper, dog. So when the guy said that, they waited for the 15, 16 day, they're like, all right, that's dope. The brain knows how to, you know, fix itself. That's crazy. We didn't know this. All right, Papa, take it off. Yeah, we're done with the project, whatever. They take it off. His vision goes backwards. So now he's normal. He's actually back to normal, but the goggles are off. And his vision is backwards. It flipped him again. So his brain had to readjust to being normal.
But it had to do the same thing again?
But it did it within 4 days.
And then it fixed itself
and then that's it. And then it was just right back to normal. So the moral of the story is that the brain can lie to you if it needs to, you know. If it's misguided, it can make you think something, feel something that's not there. I know you've seen shows where they cover your eyes and they tickle your this and you think
no, trust me, I went through some crazy anxiety shit, bro. And trust me, I know. Like your brain can play tricks on you. And people, you know, people out there with anxiety and who are over worriers, because that's like just in my gene pool. Like my mom is a worrier. My mom's mom was a worrier. So I tend to get worrisome thoughts all the time, like sober, not even fucking smoking weed. You know what I mean? But so the best way to just treat thoughts is like, thoughts are not you. Like just because you think of something, that doesn't mean that you are that thought or that you necessarily believe in that thought. So the best thing to do is just treat thoughts like leaves in a river and just let them flow. And if you see a thought that is a productive thought that serves you, take it out of the river, take the leaf out the river and decide if you want to keep it or throw it back in the river and let it just continue to go, because your thoughts are going to just keep coming and going and you're going to think crazy shit and you have to know that whatever you think, you are not that. And just let the river keep going. And so
piggybacking that, you're completely right about that. So piggybacking that,
yeah,
and circling back to what you had asked earlier, the effect that has, you know, going to prison or having a traumatic, you know, situation that, you know, you kind of trying to bounce back from. So again, piggybacking off of the whole, by the way, I like that you got all fucking philosophical with the leaves and the river type shit.
Thank you.
I don't know if I can reuse that, but I'm gonna try one day.
Thank you. It helped me. It helped me for sure.
You know, going through what I went through, and you know, there's different stages, but it really, they're not irrelevant. But there's no reason to go into all kind of details. But whenever somebody goes through something, they get, you know, put on their ass, they get their heart fucking stomped on, you know, whatever it is. It's going back to what you said. You have all these emotions that's just flowing. And you're, you know, obviously every extreme is different. But you're capable of realizing, damn, I'm feeling like this right now. Damn, I'm thinking this. And those thoughts are from, I shouldn't, but I would love to. You know, I would love to, but maybe not. You know, whatever it is. And you just got to pick and choose. You got to try your best to choose the right ones to show
to become,
to unite with. You have to hold back on there might be, if again referring to what you were saying, in that flow of leaves of emotions, the majority of them might be sad,
not serving you, not productive for you.
There you go, from anger to sadness to just things that
worrisome to anxiety
and we all acknowledge that. Come on, we all do. What separates the tears of different people is what you do with that. What you do in that moment. What you do with that thought, what you do with that, that option.
What's crazy is that, and to go back to when you were talking about people deal with trauma differently, I saw another thing where two guys, remember that plane that crashed in the Hudson River in New York City?
Yeah, the old man who parked it almost?
Yeah, the pilot who was won an award for fucking saving everybody's lives because he landed it perfectly in the Hudson River in New York City. And they examined two people that were sitting right next to each other on that plane. Both of them having thought, one wrote a book about the thoughts he was thinking before he thought he was going to die. Basically, thinking he was going to crash in the airplane, right? Two people sitting next to each other. One guy, traumatized, can never go on an airplane again. The guy next to him hops on an airplane the next day and flies back to his crib in North Carolina. That goes to show you the two different ways you can deal with trauma. Some people, I can never go on an airplane again. This is the most traumatizing thing. Right. And some people aren't affected by it. And the guy hops on an airplane the next day. You know what I mean? Right. Which is crazy to me.
And I bet, without even knowing either one of those gentlemen's stories, life stories, and I know I say this in almost every podcast, man, whatever the fuck you went through growing up, every bit of it, something shocking, something crazy, something traumatic, something loving. Your mom, if she was your biggest influence, you're going to have these attachments to your mom that you won't be able to explain when you're an adult.
Right.
But regardless, it's kind of like the weird shit of, maybe not, it's a good example, it's just not the most positive example. Kind of like somebody who grows up seeing their
domestic violence or something. Yeah.
And then they swear that they're not going to deal with it, put up with it. I would never, blah, blah, blah. And then I don't know the numbers, but a lot of times they end up
that
still
gets passed
doing
down,
it.
a generational curse.
Because they don't realize that it's embedded in them. It's not about that you don't want it. You really don't want to. You don't want to. But if you don't acknowledge that, oh shit, wait a minute, I've been seeing this my whole life. And in order for me to make, fall in a different category and making the decision that is typically not, expected, it's going to take a lot more work. People don't acknowledge that and put in the work, and therefore, they end up following the pattern. And when I say put in the work, I definitely don't say go get therapy, because it's too difficult to understand that, you would need it, if that. I don't want people to get therapy, but just realize that.
You don't want people to get therapy? I disagree with that. Damn, I think therapy, even though I haven't gotten to it. Well, therapy comes in all types of forms. So
yes, for sure. I was speaking more, doctoral, like going to a therapist and all that. And even then, bro, like I don't want to come off wrong. It's not that, man. Some people need that.
It's like a mental checkup for your brain. Like the way you go to your doctor and get your physical, it's like the same, but for your mental.
It's almost comparable to like, okay, let's say we're super close, and I give you advice on this chick you're dating. Hey, Casey, man, I think because of what you told me, A, B, and C, and it's possibly the X, Y, and Z, and I think you should dump her. I think that deep down inside, damn, Wes would never fucking misguide me. Wes has been around the block. Wes, but that's Wes. It's my dog. Now, if it was a therapist or some random Joe that you come across on a night of drinking at the Hard Rock, and they told you that, you're gonna take it more depth, because it's not something that you've been hearing. I'm your boy. I'm your this. So I just feel like the therapy thing is the same thing. You can get the right advice from other people, but you're not open to it. You want some stranger to tell you this.
I feel you. In my opinion, I think therapy is not so much to get advice from somebody, but to allow yourself to just vent and have the therapist just interpret things. Not to get advice on what you should do, but just you need to have somebody to get your shit off on. And a lot of people don't have people to talk to. Like you said, either maybe it's your mom or maybe it's one of your best friends or your girlfriend, your significant other, and you're able to. This is therapy in a sense, podcasting, which is another reason why I love you got to vent and just get your shit off. Some people are not comfortable. They don't have anyone in their immediate circle that they could just vent to. You know what I'm saying? So But then when you have a professional sitting on the other side of the table and can interpret things in your mind, and maybe that thought is not serving you, maybe you shouldn't think of it like this. Maybe, some people need that type of guidance and not necessarily advice,
I agree. I totally agree with that. I think you said that very well. I guess what comes out of me instinctively is somewhere in the conceptually speaking of the comparison of I don't want to give you a fish. I'd rather teach you how to fish.
Right.
So I don't want to give you the therapist.
Right.
I'd rather try my best to convince you, like, yo, you can overcome this by yourself.
Right.
You can overcome this by yourself. It's just not going to be easy, but I guarantee you, or I heavily think that if you rely on this individual to bring you that peace, to bring you that whatever, this is how you express yourself. This is how you vent. You have somebody there. This is how you get a little bit of guidance. You become a little bit reliant on it. And you almost, I'm not saying that look for that for your happiness, but that ends up being your getaway, your venting session, whatever it is. And I think that happens too often. And you have never taught this individual to like, hey man, if you get away by yourself, you can do the same shit. If you allow your best friend to see you cry and tell, blah, 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 you can get the same, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It varies, obviously.
Yeah. I definitely agree. Therapy comes in all different types of forms.
But I would never talk down upon it. At the end of the day, if you're seeking therapy or if one is to suggest therapy, it's for all the right reasons. You're trying to help somebody, get better. But I have this super close friend of mine, shout out to my boy Damien, that's my brother. And I've had a couple of people on my podcast who were war veterans. And the common sense is, and I think this is comparable, you tell me, is, I guess they kind of know and accept that they should get some type of therapy. They know it. But they also are quick to say like, bro, but the therapy that you're trying to give me is some fucking person who's never been on the field, never heard a bullet go by them, never had to readjust to society. You can tell me they read all the books they want you. Now, Casey, I'm telling you, this is coming from them,
right?
With anger,
but they're thinking
with emotion, with tears. These are people who have been through some shit,
right? And therapy is not trying to get advice, though. Like therapy, therapy is. Tell me the shit, like be transparent with me, tell me your war stories, all the crazy shit you experience, and let me just help you conceptualize it towards productive for you. Well, life is all about conceptualizing it, your perspective on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and some people just need help on how to just look at certain things. You know what I mean? Like I could have a fucking sore in my shoulder, right? In my mind, my old self, the Casey from 3 years ago might be like, wait, I just looked up soreness in my, am I having a heart attack? What, like this soreness, da-da-da. The therapist might say, hey, that might just be you deadlifting or the most you've ever done, or shoulder pressing the most you've ever done. That's a good sore. Embrace that sore. You know what I'm saying? So it's just learning how to look at certain things towards productive for you, and a lot of people need help doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like this COVID shit. I'm gonna find a way to find the good in anything. Like there's a blessing in any negative thing that happens to you. You know what I'm saying? It could be the only way I can survive and the only way I could be mentally sane is it could be a death of somebody. And I'm going to try to find a way to look at that as something that happened positively within the universe, or it was supposed to happen, for the sake of me not dwelling on something negative and making myself lose my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like,
okay, I do get you, bro. I'm not against that at all. Mm-hmm. I guess I always lean on this, and I'm going to try to use you as an example if you don't mind. Mm-hmm. Have you gotten therapy before?
Once.
Okay. We don't need to know much about that. Before that, have you ever seen your mom or a loved one get therapy, or go through certain stages of therapy?
The stigma was bad back then. Before our generation, like before, now they're making it acceptable. But before, it was like they looked at it like you were crazy if you went to therapy, which was a stigma that some old ignorant shit, and like. I'm an advocate of therapy. I think therapy is like a checkup for your mind, and it's good for you. If it's good for anybody, I think yeah.
I think it is too, bro. I really do think it is. We got to understand that we have a little bit two different upbringings. My mom, and I'm not saying that you got bandaged all the time, but my mom, if I got cut, if I come home with a wound and it's bleeding, she's not gonna call me a pussy. But she's going to be like, you're crying over that?
Yeah.
You're crying over that? Like, you had something worse, a week ago.
That's a fact.
And that built a certain way. So it just kind of little by little, And then again, I go back to it. Everything is influenced through what you've been through in life. My prison experience taught me to hey man, figure this out on your own. You ain't got nobody there to do it. Figure it out on your own.
And I agree that we're losing that as men. Like
we
this
all
new generation.
We all needed therapy in prison. We all needed it. We all needed therapy in prison, and everybody who gets out of prison could use therapy. But could you
what
imagine?
A lot of people's therapy is in prison though?
Tell me.
Religion, the Bible. That's people's therapy.
I disagree.
Okay.
It's a getaway.
Okay.
It's a getaway because there's nobody else there to listen to you except
what helps you conceptualize your thoughts, like like reading scriptures in the Bible in certain
because if you talk to a physical being, they're gonna guide you a different way. They're gonna be like, yo, you don't need to do all that. You just need to make sure you stay focused, avoid these cocksuckers, don't get involved in this bullshit and whatever. If you want to read your Bible, go right ahead. But God ain't gonna tell you to avoid X, Y, and Z. Don't walk here at 2:00. Avoid this meeting.
Of course. I'm not going to give you advice. It's just ways to conceptualize your thinking.
Listen, I'm not against whatever does it for you. I'm cool with that. If it's not intentionally hurting somebody else in that process, whatever does it for you.
Yeah, like you know what I really like as I'm getting older and I'm learning it, like religion, right? I'm not religious, right? Like I grew up, Christian, and my mom was Catholic and my dad was Baptist, but I never, as a 30-year-old man, I don't consider myself, super religious, right? Because, do I believe in put it like this. This is good. I'm trying to figure out how to choose my words.
Okay.
I don't necessarily believe in religion, but I am for why it exists.
I get what you're getting.
Do you understand?
Okay.
Because
of course. You're with the positivity behind it.
It keeps people sane. You know what I'm saying? It keeps people.
Lane. Yeah,
it's a blueprint. You know what I'm saying? So do I believe that physically there's a God? Physically things were made and created, and then I don't necessarily believe that because I'm not the person to believe in dogma. But I do think that it is healthy for someone to put their faith, to believe in a higher power, basically, to be able to put your faith in something. Because there's going to be times in life where you're going to have to, you can't control it. Someone like me who's a control freak, there's going to be things that you cannot control, and you're going to have to just put your faith in something and breathe easy. Religion allows people to just breathe easy and put their faith in something and not worry.
So, and again, don't take this, please don't, and I know you won't, because
we're having a good talk. I like this.
Yeah, and you're not going to wear your emotions on your sleeve neither. I'm a total agreement with that. Mm-hmm. But to come back at something, here's an example. Tomorrow I'll have this psychologist on my podcast, mm-hmm. right? And I want to challenge him, not to put him on the spot. Like I'm not trying to, make him look anything negative. I want positivity, mm-hmm. but I want to hit him with some challenging things about, psychology, and his challenge is not all psychologists see it from the same perspective. Some mm-hmm. believe this, some believe that. Anyhow, one of the things I want to bring up to him was this mind over matter thing, mm-hmm. right? I think most people believe in that mm-hmm. without any religious connection, that if you can really mentally focus in on it enough, you can make the physicality, back to that test I told you about,
manifest
where they put the coggle. Well, I'm not manifest, because the manifestation is different. That's almost spiritual without the body. I'm saying you can tell your body this ain't really happening, even though it's happening. Mm-hmm. Like, again, what happened with the goggles. The mm-hmm. guy didn't try to tell himself, my vision is flipped backwards. Mm-hmm. The brain did it on its own. Mm-hmm. So here's an example. You have these people with superhuman powers. I'm not talking about savants. I'm talking about people with superhuman powers that they just know how to mentally zone into somewhere that shuts down a physical aspect of their body where it seems inhuman. The guy who can stay under frozen water. I'm not frozen.
Like the David Blaine shit where you bend your body to the test.
Almost David Blaine. It's almost David Blaine. There's people who outdo him. He just makes, he does a lot of illusions, but yes, he does have a lot of mind power behind it. But regardless, the point is that if you can really believe in it enough, you can make whatever it is come to life. In the same way, and I do agree with it, that if you mm-hmm. believe in a religious belief in a higher being, then it brings you guidance, mm-hmm. Peace, strength to get up for the next mm-hmm. day. If you were taught, that's all I'm saying, if you were taught well enough without the intervening competition of religious beliefs, your family being like, oh, what are you doing? You're not going to go to church with us on Sunday? If there was no judgment. If there was no judgment, if there was not too much controversy behind it, and you were taught, hey man, you're a God. Mm-hmm. You yourself are a God. You can kill, you can destroy, you can create, you can intervene, you can help people, pull people out of problem. You can do all kind of godly shit. Yo, my brother, you are a god. If you want to wake up stronger tomorrow, just fucking tell yourself you're gonna wake up stronger tomorrow.
It's crazy you say.
But if you could, but you got to convince somebody that.
Yeah.
You can't just take somebody who's been 25 years into whatever life. We all get brought up with some type of religious attachment. It doesn't matter what it is. And if you have a very fearful factor of, not believing, it doesn't mean how heavily you are into it. It's more of the ingrained shit in the back of your brain that, bro, if I don't give God a shout out, I'm looking at some real fucking melting ass, hot ass times. That's just embedded in there. So if you don't have the willpower to overcome that, you're not going to get this. But if you weren't taught all that and you were influenced, like, hey man, it's cool to believe that, but guess what? You're a God. You can do all this on your own too. And it's not against God, but you're a God too.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You convince somebody that, you'll get some godly shit out of those people.
You know? I always say, like, I just try to picture, like, as far as when people say, what do you want for your future? I just have a picture of my mind of the man I want to be, and I'm just going to become it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what my ideal version of myself is: a man of morals, a man of integrity, a man who will take care of his future kids, a man who will, you know what I'm saying, like career-wise, and I know what I have to do to get to that, so I'm just going to become the vision I have of myself. You know what I'm saying? It's as simple as that. Like, you know what I mean? How do I be the guy that lives on the beach and drives his car and stands for this and makes music for this and has a podcast this? Just become it. Like, it's that simple, And
that's what adds to the whole manifestation concept. I know you don't do it, but people use the words too loosely nowadays. I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to speak it into existence.
Yeah, it's like trendy now. I don't
that's all you got. You're just going to keep talking it up, like that. What the fuck is that? Man, you got to back it up with some action. No one knows the real formula. We know we should speak things into existence. You got to believe in it enough where you can just say it and say it with confidence.
But you got to know the tangible things you have to do that are required of you to be able to.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
And if you're too spiritual and fucking hanging on a cloud and not realizing that you got to, put this effort in there, then you missed that. You missed that bus. That bus came and went, and you were over here sitting on Fantasy Island thinking that it was going to land on your lap.
That's a fact.
Because you speak about it too much. Going back to the whole me bouncing back part, there was no speaking shit, man. There was fucking. I had to really bite down and grind and realize that, man, I'm gonna go through some ugly times. And once again, here goes all these leaves passing down the river, and I need to choose what emotion I was gonna entertain because they were all there and it all fluctuated. And even though I made plenty of bad decisions, because I did, even on the bounce back part, there was several bounce backs, 2, 3, whatever you want to call it. And I don't want to say that, this is the best one yet. No, that's it. I bounced back. I bounced back. There's no going back to making any of these bad decisions. If I make a bad decision, it's going to be, I didn't care to go out this weekend because I was focused on my money. And I didn't get some pussy. That's the bad decision. It ain't going to be hanging out with the wrong people, getting into some hustling illegal shit, that's not going to happen. But you're going to go through that. And if you go through a traumatic situation, whatever that ended up resulting in, that's a whole different you now. If you don't have the capabilities of acknowledging that, fuck, wait a minute, I just went through this. And now I'm here. And now I'm feeling like this. There was times where I felt like, my family, not my mom, but I felt like my brothers didn't have my back. I felt like my friends were just using me for the money I was making at the time. Just all that. I could not commit to a female because all I thought was like, man, if I commit to a female, it's going to be lovey-dove bullshit for 2 or 3 months. But then she's going to realize that, like, I'm in the game. I'm in the game, and I'm not going to get out until I hit this peak and I, legitimize and I do this and I do that. So I didn't entertain that. So those are all factors that play a role. And then you built up this frustration and so on. If you're too young-minded and you're not guided the right way, and you haven't figured things out, you're going to make bad decisions. And I've done that. Here goes those leaves. Those leaves are coming around. You got to be mindful of, okay, if I choose this one and I really put maximum effort into that because I know that I should reap the most benefits, it's difficult to do, but if you do it and you got it in you, you will see what it brings about. And I know I'm there now. I know I'm there. It's been a rough road, but I'm there.
Yeah, and you guys started the podcast, man. Is doing big things. Wes from the Black Sheep podcast. I got him here, bro. This is the second podcast I've done in the daytime. Wes was in my fridge and started cracking on my fridge game. Like,
hold on. But back it up a little bit more. So the homie hits me. Me and Casey, we text each other about maybe once a week, just different things. He posts a podcast. I'm like, yo, that was this, that was that. He does the same, blah blah blah. And he hits me up and he says, hey, man, I want to have you on the podcast, so on and so forth. When can we do it? We start talking about what would be a good day. And I'm telling him, because Casey's very busy. He's doing great, which, by the way, congratulations to you, brother. Love that you just got all this shit going on. You got all these great people coming on and you're hitting every kind of angle of it. But so he asked me to come on and I'm like, listen, tomorrow's a very busy day, but I have this small window that I can come see you like around 10. 10 in the morning, I think I'm good with 10. And this is me after getting up at 5 and going to sleep at 12. All right, this is me. And I'm like, yo, I can see you at 10. Because I'm like, all right, I'll take half an Adderall. Yeah. I'll fucking, fly over here. We'll do a couple of hours, I'll make it back. And I got clients to train and whatever. And Casey's like, yeah, when do you got to go back? I'm like, and I'm looking at my text like, the fuck? I just told him, bro, I'm good for 10. Why is he asking me when I got to go back?
I'm on my third dream at 10 o'clock, bro.
See? What time are you going to sleep, bro?
Oh, now the curfew's over. That's why I was loving this curfew because I was
that's right. You're DJing more now.
I was getting off. I'm DJing later.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
I was getting off at midnight.
Right.
And I'd be in bed by 2. Wake up at 10:30.
Right, you got your.
I wasn't in my. Let me check the stock market. You know what I mean? When I wake up, I was even in that vibe. Okay. And then curfew hit. I mean, curfew's over now. So now, yes, I'm back to DJing till 3 in the morning. Mm-hmm. Going to sleep at 4:30, waking up at 11:30. By the time I get caffeinated and drink my coffee, it's 12:30. I try to be out of my house by 1. Like whatever I'm doing, I just try to be out of my house by 1. And then I'm fasting. My first meal of the day is like at 3:30.
Damn. How long you been doing the fasting thing? Bro, I didn't know that. I didn't know you were doing it.
It's crazy because that's just how I've naturally lived. Before I knew that it was good for me to do what I've been doing, I've always just skipped breakfast all the time. Like I've never.
The hunger doesn't hit you like that in the morning?
No, not at all.
And but you're a smoker, but the munchies doesn't hit you that hard?
I don't smoke like that. I save my smoking for the end of the day usually.
Oh, okay.
Like when I'm done and before I'm gonna go to sleep, I try not to smoke on the wake up, but I've always just naturally intermittent fasting, and turns out that like the lifestyle I've been living is actually the best for longevity, to live forever, which is maybe why I've
stop. You're gonna make your fans fucking become vampires. Stop that.
No, not that aspect of it. I'm saying the intermittent fasting part of it.
Oh, okay.
Being able to keeping your feeding whenever you eat, keep that in an 8-hour window. Eat as much as you want. I'm going to put people on. You can eat as much as you want in an 8-hour window as long as you only drink water the other 16 hours. So, there's 3 levers. I'm always pulling 1. Sometimes I'm pulling 2. Occasionally I'm pulling 3. It's what you eat, when you eat, and how much you eat. Mm. So I'm always pulling one of those. So I'm always pulling when I eat. So that's where naturally I'm easy to handle that goal. I only eat twice a day. What I eat, I slack on that sometimes. And how much I eat, that's the second one I'm pretty good at. I don't overindulge too much.
When you slack, what are you eating? What is the bullshit? What's your kryptonite? Don't say Dominicanas.
Like food-wise?
Yeah, of course.
Dominicanas is another thing I like to indulge in. But food-wise, I would say, bro, just... I'm actually pretty good at that too as well. Like if I want to go heavy on the ice cream on the dessert, I'll do that. Like I'm a dessert guy, like once a week I'll eat ice cream and go crazy. But
like you get the tub, or you get like a dessert after dinner or something.
I'll over. That's one thing, Wes.
If you get the fucking tub, are you getting the tub?
No.
Okay.
There's one thing I've gotten really good at, bro, is just staying away from sugar.
Good, bro.
Yeah, because I go to my parents' house and that shit is infested with fucking yodels and fucking treats and all that shit, man. So I come over here and you made fun of my fridge. Like, I'd rather just not have anything, bro. And I go out to eat every day.
So he says that because I brought a couple of beers here and I opened the fridge and dead ass, it was fucking Arizona. It was Arizona with like one bottle of water. I don't even know what the hell else was it. It was just desolate as fuck. And I just cracked the joke like, man, you can tell. But the door on the side panel was just loaded with ketchup, barbecue sauce, and it was all came from different restaurants. And it was like, all right, this boy eats out.
Yeah, I eat out, bro.
Yeah.
And I found a way to, like I said, conceptualize it and put it in a perspective to where it's good for me. Like, I think it's productive for me, you know, like, because there's benefits in it. I don't have to clean my kitchen. My kitchen is always clean, and I don't have snacks in here. Like, I don't snack, which is very important. Like, man, you cannot have your body metabolizing shit all day.
The only argument really, Casey, is just when you're eating out. You know,
what are you eating?
Yeah, what are you eating?
You know I go to this place called Fresh Kitchen. Like I said, I stay away from sugar. I'm not eating crazy, you know, white bread and pastas and shit like that. You know, I'm rice bowls, you know, beans, chicken,
cool.
you know, steak. You know, I try to limit my red meat. You know, I'm eating steak twice. You know,
have you still gotten around to the boxing? I know you were getting more active with that.
Yeah, I stopped the boxing. I'm trying to I might join Anatomy or Equinox. I'm trying to make that decision. But yeah, I like doing boxing for cardio before weights. That's like so I punch the bag for like 30, 45 minutes and then do weights for like 45 minutes.
Nice little warm up.
Yeah, I got into that for cardio. But
you feel like you're at your best right now, fitness wise?
No, I'm about to be, because I'm waiting for this fucking tat to heal. It's crazy. I know what women go through when they get a BBL, bro, and they have a new ass and they feel amazing. That's how I feel with this sleeve right here.
You really
I feel like I
brought that up.
Yeah, I feel like, damn, I just got like a male BBL. Can we address
that since you just brought that up?
I'm about to be in the best shape of my life, Wes.
No, once this healed, I'm so hyped. The fake asses. Can we address that?
Go.
How you feeling about that?
I hate that. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Can we tell your fucking fans that almost all guys do?
It's coming to a point where it's almost like a deal breaker for me, bro.
It's fucking disgusting, though. I've only seen like one or two.
If I can't tell.
I've only seen like one or two that looked. You can tell it's fake.
Even when you really smash, bro. Like I've smashed the fake asses.
That shit's just fucking stiff. It's not moving around.
I'm not with that, bro. Like, I'm not with that. Like when I smack your ass, it has to have a little ripple in it.
Can you correct? What is the average price for an ass job? Isn't it like $5? Like $3,500 to $5 or some shit? Like titties?
Yeah. I'll just say between 5 and 10.
Jesus Christ! If it's more than 5, that's insane. So.
Bro, they're taking stuff. They're taking fat from.
No, it's fucking disgusting. Though.
Yo, we're smashing. $6,500. Like, we're smashing stomachs out here, bro. They're putting stomachs on girls' asses, and we're.
So here's the fucking the multiple cons to it. One, you pay $5,000 to the right trainer, gym, whatever, you'll get that ass and it'll stick with you.
Here's the thing, though, but let me play devil's advocate, because I don't want to speak just for the man, because I know the women's side of it. You know what I'm saying? Some women, West, just don't have the genetics, bro. They'll never get that ass. They'll never, no matter how much they go to the gym, they're not, they just don't have hips. They don't have, you know what I mean? Like, so I see that, you know, but yeah, go to the gym first.
Go, homie, but
or maybe after.
Okay, so in retrospect, these chicks, I feel like saying bitches. These
we should get misogynistic on this podcast.
Yeah, I don't want you to lose monetization.
I'm trying to not say bitches and hoes, West, so I say harlots now. That's what I call them.
Nah, fuck that. That's like telling somebody, hey, don't curse in front of your kid. You're gonna say darn, or you're gonna say it's the same fucking thing. You're expressing emotion. No, I say bitches. I do, but I love women, and I don't disrespect them.
Because there's bitches and women, right?
But not only that, it's just a fucking term. It's just like if I said, I don't try to say niggas. I don't, because there's a very derogatory attachment into some racism and how it came about and whatever.
Right. But bitches is cool.
Bitches is female dogs. Get over it. You can talk all the shit you want. That's a female dog. So, but anyways, bitches, they're not giving it enough thought when they do this. That ass, that tub of lard that you just connected to your gluteus is gonna fucking hang and pull through gravity and through your lack of the muscle development.
The chicks that OD with it, you're right. And it gets silicone, but there's fat transfers, bro.
My brother, I don't care if you work. Look, you know what I worry about sometimes? This is me now. This is personal as fuck.
You're gonna get a BBL?
I don't got a huge stop. I don't got a huge chest, but I got a big chest. I work out, and I think, damn, bro, it's gonna take a lot of maintenance to make sure this shit stays up. If I don't stay on top of this, and I changed my workout game now. Now it's not heavy lifting and none of that shit. It's often and do it a lot. I just hit the whole body 3-4 times a week, the whole body, but I don't go so hard that I'm too sore the next day. Able to do, I don't do that. So, and everything has changed and my body's reacting great. But what I'm fearful of is if I don't do that, these pecs are gonna fucking hang as I get older. And if I don't outdo aging,
Right. I mean,
if I don't,
it's like
I
my pa is. I hate to put my dad on blast, but yeah, my dad has my body type. He has a big chest, and he was always in the gym crazy and benched 450 and shit. But
and you
he's older now. He's 65, so like
it's gonna start sagging. So if you don't do extra as an extra workout, extra this, extra that, because you're going against gravity, you're going against age, you're going against, bro. That same shit applies threefold to these chicks getting these fake asses.
yeah.
You're getting it because you're not working out enough. Some of them do, but whatever. You're getting it because you don't got it in you to put that ass on naturally.
Yeah.
That shit, not only that, you're also jeopardizing your life, bitch. Like, you are literally jeopardizing whatever you
fact.
put in. Like, man, that's crazy. I don't know.
I'm with it, Wes. Yeah.
You don't mind the titties, though, do you?
Bro, it's something about me that just likes organic, bro. Just natural.
Same, man.
Natural, man. I'll take
But you're
natural.
not going to push a girl away if she's got the fake titties.
I mean, it's just like any plastic surgery. If it's OD, if it looks too crazy,
They throw you off.
I don't like it, bro.
I got you.
Like I'd rather see. I'm starting to appreciate titties in my 30s. I never cared about boobs at all in my 20s. Like, you could have a flat chest, but as long as your hips and your ass is right,
Yeah.
I'm with it. You know. But as I'm getting older, I'm starting to appreciate boobs more.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm on the other side. I'm always been the hip and ass. I don't mind the boobs. They can be small. Doesn't.
Yeah, me either. I don't care. I'm starting to appreciate nice boobs, nice real, because it's like a rarity now to see nice natural boobs now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when I see them, I'm like, damn, like it's almost more of a rarity than the ass now, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Shit.
I think that's why, man. I think that's why maybe I liked ass so much, because it was rarer to find. It was harder to find a woman with a nice ass, you know. But now I feel like it flipped. Now it's hard to find women with nice natural boobs. I don't know. Am I off in that?
No, you're not. That's so acceptable that everybody's got them now, and they look way better than what they have in the past. So even though you can almost tell they're fake, they look so good, you know. So you tend to overlook it. Yeah, everybody's got them. Now the asses was taking over. Let me ask you this, Case. When I had you on the podcast, man, we were talking about we didn't talk a whole lot about it, but we went into the relationship part and how difficult it is and this and that. Any success? I think we said at the time.
Damn.
You were supposed to have a date. I don't know if we said it on camera or off camera. We said it off camera. We smoked off camera. You're like, I didn't want to say it on camera, but I'm supposed to have a date in a couple of days with whatever the fuck. I don't know who she was. Evidently, no.
I haven't met the one yet, Wes.
No, still.
I'm still interviewing. Job applications are still coming across my desk.
Is it you? Is it them?
No, it's them.
Yeah.
If I find a chick that I can have a conversation that entertains me. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like whenever I'm on a date,
comes off wrong.
Whenever I'm no, this is a fact. Whenever I'm on a date or I'm getting to know a chick, I feel like I'm entertaining. Like, I have to be the one to make you laugh. I have to be the clever one. I have to be the witty one, and she's laughing, having a great time. She likes me. Da 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 da. But when I find a girl that could bounce that back and make me laugh,
right,
and stimulate my mind, and that's when I know it's going to be something real.
I like that.
But it's very hard to find. I'm done being the entertainer, bro.
Yeah, man.
I'm done with that shit. I haven't found the one, and which is why I use me not finding the one to become the best man I can be. Like, I'm thinking about this summer, like with my new ink, I'm about to get in the best shape of my life. My career's going good, you know. Like, nice. I'm just trying to manifest that energy to be in the best me for this summer, so I can meet the one that blows my mind away. In my mind, I think that if the better I can make myself, the better chances of me meeting the one are. Does that make sense?
100%. Of course it does, but and not that you need it, but a quick reminder: you ain't got to meet the one this summer.
Oh, trust me.
You ain't got to meet the one this year.
I know.
You just keep doing what you're doing, and it's gonna eventually, that energy that you're bringing is gonna attract the right one. Because remember, you're gonna have, and I'm not saying the one in the summer is gonna be that.
Yeah.
But with your popularity, with the better, improved looking, more physical Casey Chopz, and everything put in between, you're gonna attract a lot of bitches who's just gonna want to get with you, see what way they can get with you. You know, can I get on this podcast? Whatever the fuck it is.
Meet the list. That clip was amazing on your podcast. The list I went through.
Oh my goodness, that shit was epic. You just started freestyling. Hey guys, if you haven't, and I'm not trying to steal clout.
We gotta promote that shit.
You guys got to check out my podcast, The Black Sheep Perspective, where I had Casey Chopz on there. It was awesome. Amazing views. Everybody loved it. Everybody knew.
You gotta resend me that clip, bro.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
You gotta resend that to me.
So we're live doing it, and in the process of doing it, Casey goes, literally got into his zone, and I don't think did we have wine that night or no?
We were sipping wine for sure.
Okay, we were sipping wine, but we didn't smoke. So we're sipping wine, and Casey just got in the zone. I think we were about an hour into the podcast, and I asked him a question, and he answered it without even damn near looking at me. And it was just from the heart. And he was like, maybe if one of your fans, and then boom, here came that checklist. And when that shit was over, I was like, yo, I'm going to make a fucking 1 minute clip of this to put on Instagram, right? Because this was a dope ass segment, and it was from the heart. It was from the heart. You knew what you want.
Such a hopeless romantic, bro.
And nothing wrong with that, bro.
Yeah. What about you, Wes?
Hold your bar up high, man.
Yeah. What's the dating game like for you?
Bro, I'm like you. I think that your not requirements. I think what you're looking for is a little bit different than mine, but I think we both have the same pickiness. If I can get away with that,
because it's a second job at the end of the day, right? We're so busy, a relationship. Yeah. We're so busy doing us, you know what I mean? That for me to put in the effort that is required to maintain a relationship, and me put in that time away from other things that I could be doing, like, you really have to be worth, like, you know what I mean? Like, you really have to be, bro. Like, yeah.
I guess what I always lean on is, and this is not, so anybody watching, don't hold this against me, but for the most part, my bread and butter is, I want the closest thing to a mirror image of me. And I think that most people want that, unless you have.
Damn, that's a good.
If you have a big flaw in your system in knowing who you are, then you obviously don't want somebody to compliment that, because then you're going to be double fucked up. But minus whatever that flaw is, you want the best friend. The best friend is the closest thing to you. Hey, I love football. Hey, I love doing this. I love that. I would love to share all that with somebody else. That's where you get your best friends. That's where you have your business partners. That's where you have the vibes that we have, like you and I have, when you share so much common ground. My bar is high with looking for that common ground with a female. I'm not just 100%, I'm
going to play devil's advocate with you, by the way. This is going to be therapy.
Yes.
So,
I like that.
So, you want her to like all the things you like, right?
I want the closest thing to that. I don't.
Are you willing to compromise for her?
Yes, 100%. Okay. But to piggyback that now, I don't believe that if I meet some girl who's she's everything I want physically, whatever it is, forget about the attributes. Physically, she's what I want. Oh my God. Da, 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 da. She does not care for MMA. For those of you who don't know MMA, mixed martial arts.
I think that's okay, Wes, because these are females at the end of the day.
Okay, that's fine. You're right about that, Case. I get that, but I don't go that. See, that's where we start.
I think it's best to have the girlfriend that lets you just do your thing.
No, this is where we're different. Yeah. And I appreciate this. We did this on our podcast, and I remember when you were on the coffee breakup, you still held your ground about that. And I like that, man. You got to look at the podcast that I did with Coffee Breakup. We gave you a shout out. And then I did a couple of posts on my my vlog series, and I gave you a shout out on my vlog series. I saw that. We gave you a shout out. We like that you're like that. We like that you were like, yo, my future lady, I want her to, not in a bad way, I want her to stay ass at home and be a great mother and a great wife, and I'm going to bust my ass and I'm going to do everything that needs to be done so that she doesn't have to stress anything out. And we're living good and this and that, because you want great, parental guidance from your kids and all this other stuff. You had this very traditional way, but more because of what you've been through with your mom. And your mom was very known, and still busted her ass and still came home. And you said you saw her.
I just think that it's the bet if we're building a team, right? Like if we're building a family, AKA a team, and I need to put 5 players on that court, I know that I cannot put multiple shooting guards. I know I have to have a big man, a dynamic opposition. We need to have different roles.
Are you part of the team or are you the coach?
No, I'm just part of the team.
Okay,
it's an even team. It's an even team.
Yeah, but if you're part of, I don't think it's an even team with the way you say it. I think that you're the LeBron James and you want to be the LeBron James, and that's fine.
No, that's not that. I disagree. That's not how I feel.
No.
I just think that if you
rather make enough money where your wife doesn't have to work and she can just take care of the kids and stay home and be a good wife. That's not a lowering. That's not like a feminist thing to say.
If you're a 6'8" fucking basketball player, I'm probably gonna want you to play power forward. If I'm a 5'3" quick guy, I'm probably gonna want you to play point guard. It makes the best sense for the team.
You know what? If you threw it at me in a good way, but that's not fair.
It is.
That was a great reference, but that's not
because
fair.
Guess what? If my girl really wants to work and she loves her job, go ahead. Go ahead. We got to figure out these roles, But most women would rather see that. And this is what I believe. Most women would rather see the smile of their kid throughout the day than to fucking be at a job in an office and trying to make money and deal with all fucking that's just what I believe most women want.
I think if you did a poll, you'll get a different response.
Okay.
I think the emotional response.
Most women are in the workplace not because they love their job, but because they were told not to have to rely on a man. That's why most women are in the workplace.
Okay, that's fine. But now you're sounding like somebody who like, hey, we kind of force y'all into this, woman equality thing. We kind of tempted you guys to attempt this because what
it's not about we're equal. Like the center and the point guard, they're equal. They just do different things.
Okay, but most women, when they get caught up in that whole, hey, I'm cool with just being a mother because I love to be a mother and I'll be a good wife and I make sure my man this and that, then they realize, fuck, I'm stuck at home doing shit. Fuck, I'm here all day. And then damn.
You could build a business.
I don't have my own money, but I have my own money, but it's not kind of my money because it's my man's money, but it's my money because we're sharing it, but it's not my own money. And then
see, that's where we're different.
This weird thing happens.
I agree that it's our money. I think it's our money. I don't believe that. If my girl's gonna stay home and I'm gonna go out to work, I don't think it's my money. No, this is our money. This is the team.
I agree with you.
This is the team. You can have access to the account. Like I'm with having you know what I mean? Like I'm with having a joint bank account. I'm with that.
Look, I agree with you on that. But circling back to what we're talking about, I feel like the more you can share with your significant other, the better the chances of the most healthiest relationship.
I agree.
And by that I mean, you don't have to do MMA. I'm speaking for myself. Mm-hmm. But I am a fanatic. Go fuck yourself. I just said it. Fanatic. Mm-hmm. That ain't like
that's fine. We're all fanatics of different things.
I'm a fanatic of the UFC. All I do is train people to fight. I've been doing MMA for over 20 years. I'm MMA everything. I cannot have a conversation. It's hard for me to talk to you this long and I didn't throw a combo yet.
Yeah.
This is what we do. So you don't have to train MMA, but if you can't find it in you to be able to sit down and enjoy some fights with me
right
on a weekend,
right,
at least twice a month, we have an issue. That's a pastime of mine that I love. That's not drinking beer with the fellas on a lake eating shit. This is a pastime that I'm passionate about. I know all these fighters. I want to share that with you. You don't need to know these fighters' names, but can you have an appreciation for this? Or are you going to be?
If she likes you, she'll grow into liking it because she likes you. I think so.
It depends. Everybody's different. They might like you and be like, no, baby, I'll watch it with you. And then they're sitting there on their phone the whole time and they don't give a fuck about it. So what I'm just saying is you can do the whole smoke and mirrors of I'll adjust for you, I'll accommodate you, but I want that real deal. The closer we are to being similar, the more common ground we share. I'm a beach fanatic. Mm-hmm. I'm an ocean fanatic. Doesn't have to be the beach. We can fish. We can dive. We can spearfish. We can just go to the beach and chill.
You gotta love the water.
I love the water. We need to share that.
I agree. Just like me with dancing.
Like
you gotta, Like
there you go. You're huge on that. That's right. I totally forget that.
You're right. We definitely have to have commonalities and definitely have to have our dynamic opposition or our differences as well.
Right.
So you're right.
And we would adjust. Like, okay, Casey, here's a great example, and I've always used this. You got a machine in front of you. We're in 21. Let's fast forward to 2030. We're at 2030. There's a fucking machine. Casey hasn't found the one yet. Casey Chopz. Here we are, blown up. Casey, this machine can now give you the one. It's going to be AI. It's going to be this and that. But because it's a fucking 3D printer, you're going to get the real deal. I want you to input into this massive Elon Musk computer all the fucking details of what you want this chick to be.
Damn.
The little fucking hoodle.
Damn, but this is
you are gonna describe yourself, and you're not gonna say, "I hope." Here comes the option.
I hope I don't have hips and I'm 5'6".
No, I don't mean that, asshole. But it's gonna be like, would you like to go to an opera with her, to a ballet with her? You're not gonna check none of that. Would you like to go to bachata with her? Would you like to go to some salsa with her? Would you like to go to? You're gonna check what describes you. You're not going to want her to have these likings, these passions
You're right.
that you don't share in.
You're right, but then there's certain things that I don't want her to check. There's differences as well. Like
anxiety. You want her to have anxiety because you got anxiety? I get it.
No, but not even that. Just the way you mesh even with a business partner. Like I'm the spur of the moment. I need a girl who keep me calm, more calculated. Like there's different things. It's a team as well. So you have to have the dynamic opposition to balance each other out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I love that you do that, and I'm not saying that like I'm poking at you. I really do love that you think like that. That's more of a business reference, and that could happen in business because you have your lanes. You got to stay in your lane.
If I'm the turn up,
your numbers, your marketing, you're dealing directly with people. I'm the one fucking dealing with the customers. That's different. If it's a mesh, You can't separate when you got, in my opinion, when you have, my wife it's football season, dog. The minute we hit fucking April and there's spring training, my wife doesn't even fucking, she already knows Sunday, I'm gone and I don't see her until fucking Sunday night because she knows it's with the boys, it's beers, it's wings, it's here comes football, it's fantasy football. Bro,
you want all the good?
That doesn't work. Your weekend, you just took one day of your weekend away from your wife. You guys are Monday through Friday busting your asses. You might have kids. You're drained. You barely get the sex in because you're drained and you got to get up the next morning at 5 and 6. This is typical life. The weekend is all you got, this is just reality. If that weekend is divided and you're like, oh yeah, she goes to the mall with her friends and I do football with mine, bro, this is not a good formula. You can think you're accommodating yourselves. I'm not going to put pressure. That's not the best formula. That builds up to frustration. That builds up to like, oh, you came home drunk. Oh, well, you weren't here Sunday. Oh, well, I can't take you to the games. I just don't believe in that. I don't. Yeah. I don't. I want to share as much common ground. Do you
want the bad qualities to be common too? For example, if you're both hotheads, y'all both can't go fucking lose your mind when something happens. You need the calm one to balance you out, to keep, like there's certain things like that. Like,
so again, I would be an asshole to say, yeah, I want her to have my negative qualities. By the way, I don't think I have negative qualities.
Talk about it, Wes. Black Sheep Podcast.
Oh my God, that's too funny. But I'm kind of being serious. I check myself more than anybody ever could. Mm-hmm. I check myself. The minute I'm going to take a piss break, I'm like, yo, am I saying all the right things on Casey's, podcast? I want to make sure I don't overtalk.
You're good.
No, I'm just saying, but that's me. That's me.
Yeah,
so I'm a different fucking species when it comes to that. So I don't know what negative I have in me when it comes to that shit because I'm going to check myself. But I definitely don't think anybody wants somebody to duplicate their negativity. No, that's a double whammy.
Right.
But you might invite it because it's a turn on. You might invite it because you know that you got to take the good with the bad.
Right.
That all relies on you. I just think that the more common ground you share, the better. And the more that you convince yourself that, that's enough, you're setting yourself up. I just don't agree with it.
Okay, I have a question for you, Wes. So we could talk about the qualities we want in a significant other, right? Okay. Now I'm going to ask you, what are the bad qualities you're willing to put up with in the ideal significant other? Because
that's a great question.
Because we could always think about the great things that we want in somebody, but everyone has the dark bad side to them. So we're gonna have to put up with some bullshit. So what are the type of things you're willing to put up with? That's the new shit I've been trying to think of.
I guess mine will probably come up. All right. I mean, I gotta just say it on the fly. So I don't like to sugarcoat shit. So right. I guess the fitness aspect. If I was to pull that same girl out of the machine that I presented to you for 2030. She would be at a certain level of fitness that I'm more into than not.
Right.
So whatever that fitness is, I don't got to give all the details. Right. No girl ever fucking messages me after this.
Yeah.
But that is not as important. And she doesn't have to be, if she was hypothetically speaking, 130 pounds, 10% body fat. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. Just pretty fucking fit. If that's what I was looking for, ideally, what I'm willing to overlook is, bro, I can go una cubanita.
Yeah.
That's thick, a little pudgy. It is not that big of a deal as long as you're healthy.
Got you.
As long as you do train.
You have the awareness
yes,
to say.
I know you can't hit the genetics to fucking do that. And I want to share croquetas with you.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a healthy eating guy, I want to share croquetas with you. So that's fine. You can be thick bootied and be a little pudgy here and a little stretch mark there. That shit doesn't bug me at all. I can overlook that.
Okay.
That's what comes to mind. But when it's I can't overlook makeup. Like if you're heavy makeup.
Yeah, I can't overlook that either. See, I have a problem because I try to think of the things I could put up with, like the negative qualities.
Your list is small, isn't it?
Like, I've put up with the bad voice before and like, oh my God, like, damn, like, yo, okay, like, or the dirty bitch who's got
I can't believe you just said that. That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. Or the chick who's got fucking is messy as shit and got the whole bathroom looking like fucking. No. Yo, I had three girls stay. Check this out.
I had three calling that out. No, I won't put up with that.
I had 3 girls stay at my crib, right, from San Francisco. I don't know if I might edit this out and make me look like a whore, but anyway.
Why? No, you were just looking out for them. They needed a place to stay.
Exactly. They needed shelter. I had 3 girls from San Francisco when I was doing a good deed, right?
Okay.
Bro. And I let them stay with me. And, bro, my crib is relatively small. It's a 1-1. You know what I'm saying? Bro, these girls, in 5 minutes of them being here, opening up their suitcases, and my shit turned into fucking a tornado. Like each chick took up like 20 by 20 square footage of just bullshit.
And they had no consideration.
Times 3 chicks, that's 60 by 60 of just bullshit everywhere in my crib. This harlot brought her own mirror. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, she brought up a whole makeup kit. Like, this shit was like, my crib was messy, bro. Like, women can get messy quick. Yeah. Like, you know, they got more shit than us. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, I can't do the messy shit.
That's a crazy reverse question. I literally have never been asked that. Now I'm over here thinking, okay, well, what bullshit could I put up with?
Like, if you got a little crooked teeth, I could put up with that.
Oh, yeah, good call. Like, okay, good call. Keep going. I'm with that.
I'm trying to think, like, I'll put up with the crooked teeth, you know, if it's like in the back a little bit more, you know, like whatever.
Yeah. And you know what? I don't care if I want, let's just say, an 8 in the face. I can take a 6.5 in the face if we're going to speak hypothetically. Yeah. As long as the other attributes are there, and the other attributes is, hey, how do you feel about the beach? Hey, how do you feel about, you know, working out? How do you feel about eating healthy? If all that's there and you're funny and you talk shit and you might like to smoke a little weed, fuck, that 6 just turned to an 8. I'm not worried about that face like that, because if I'm looking for the long run, it's going to change anyway. Exactly, homie. If I'm looking for the long run, this is why I'm saying that list. This is why I'm saying that 20-30 machine. Mm-hmm. I'm looking for the long run. You're my dog. It ain't going to be about the looks. I don't want the fake ass or the fake teeth. I want to be like, who can I vibe with? You down to go fishing? All right, here's an example. I'm putting myself on blast right now. I'm going to put myself on blast for your fans. I think you kind of did it for me on my podcast. You put yourself on blast. You opened up. You were very loving. Oh, man, you about to give me that?
Yo, prende la vaina, bro.
Oh, I don't know. No, I was going to get that over there, if you don't mind. When I was working the club scene, this is huge, okay? This is literally going to what you're saying. And again, I know I'm exposing myself, and I'm not going to give numbers out or anything like that, but when I worked the club scene, and this is you, and this might not work in your favor because it might make you look bad in a good way. When I worked the club scene, just to cut right down to it, I got so much fucking pussy, I thought I was a porn star. Mm-hmm. Okay? Mm-hmm. Just to cut right down to it. Like, dead ass, that's it. There's no other way going around it. I worked at Banana Joe's, Margarita Mama's. It was, you know, back then, you know, here I am, head of security. I got a great position. And then I become assistant GM later on. I just had all the power, had some pretty good looks. I was the only security with glasses on. For some reason, that just attracted all the women. And they weren't women. They were young girls. So I got pussy thrown at me left and right. I mean, it was just fucking shooting fish in a barrel. Straight up. That's what it was. So fast forward. And again, it's the first time I exposed myself like this, minus being with a couple of friends. And I never brag. I don't say none of that shit. That's not my style. I'm just saying the facts. I got so much pussy that now I don't fucking think about pussy like that at all. And the reason I bring this up is because it depends on what you've been through in life. It goes right back to, we mentioned it several times earlier on. What influenced your life? Well, I got enough pussy.
But you don't think about pussy because you naturally get pussy.
No, what I'm saying is I got enough pussy, so much sexual experience that the sexual act, as much as I yearn it like any other man, whether horny now or when I have a partner, she better be I hope she's as sexually active as me. Like I can't.
Her drive matches your drive.
Yeah, there you go. One of the reasons that I don't date much women in my age bracket is because their drive is down. Yeah, and I don't got nothing wrong with you being a mother or you having a kid, but that takes away from your drive. You just don't have it in you. And I'm way more energetic. My sex drive is higher.
I think having a woman having a job and being in the workplace takes her drive down more so than staying at home and being stress free and raising a family. I think she'll be turned on. You bring it home.
That's funny. You bring it home. The bacon. It feels like that.
I know how women think, bro. If you taking care of the house and you bring home the bacon, bro, and you're there with her offspring, she gonna want to fuck you when you get home, bro. And she's gonna trust me, bro. I know how women think. Maybe not these new women or how they're being conditioned to think, but I know how women think in their most natural state.
So when we talked about you on the coffee breakup, and it was when they had me on there, and I mentioned you. I basically said how, you know, your upbringing was different and so on and so forth. And that's why you think about what you did with your mom and you see her a different way. The same way my mom is my best friend. And someone might think, oh, you're a mother's boy. No, that's literally my closest friend. You'd have to hear the story to know all that. Because of that, you're gonna approach life differently and look at these females differently, even when it comes to the sex game, the hooking up game, the whatever turns you on game. And I just I see where you're coming from. I'm not being absent-minded to that at all. I'm being completely, and it's not like I'm just trying to be respectful. No, I do. I see the argument. I see where you're coming from.
As far as what though?
I just
specifically
the part about that you think that the women will be a healthier version of them if they're at home doing their thing and not worrying about the stress. So when we mentioned this on the podcast,
if she genuinely likes her job, work. Okay. If you genuinely are passionate about what you do for a living, work. But if you feel like you have to go to work every day, don't go to. I don't want you going to work.
So I told you this on the podcast, and we mentioned it off camera, and then I mentioned this on the coffee breakup. Casey, if you were to do what you would prefer, if you let her, let's say she didn't prefer to, she wanted to stay home with the 2 kids, and you want her to be a great wife, great mother, all that stuff. My brother, unless you fucking hit a home run, and I think you're doing great, and I hope you will, and I think you will in due time. But if you're not banking enough, you are overworking your ass off in order to make that situation be what it is. In order for your wife to be in that situation that you want, great mother, stay at home, don't stress, don't worry about this, I got it, she prefers it, I want this. You are busting now. That is going to deteriorate you. Now, how good?
Guess what? Now, when I have a wife that I can come home to, that's going to make sure I'm good. I should be busting. I should be busting my ass.
But you know how tiresome it is. If you're busting your ass that bad, that means you're working 10, 12-hour days minimum.
But you're right. But guess what? Now I have a purpose, and I'm providing for a family. That gives a man a certain type
That's a common story.
That gives a man a certain type of like when he comes home to his girl, who's she has a smile on your face when you get home, like. The baby smiling at you. She's at peace. She's not dealing with fucking jobs. She's not dealing with politics. She's not worried about having to bring home money. Like, guess what? I'll bust my ass 12 hours a day for that.
Here's what I can say, because it's not a debate that it leads into argument, and that's definitely not something that I would want it to be. But I can tell you this, my firsthand experience. I've been a trainer, a coach, dealing with people one-on-one for many, many years now, over 15 years. We obviously, and people have heard it, and we're way more than trainers. We are therapists, psychologists. Sure. We are all that. A lot of
nutritionists.
A lot of times the training part is the secondary. You really just want somebody to talk to, and you want to vent, and you want to vent while I give you a workout.
Therapy,
you can. Yeah, it's therapy. You can look up this workout. You can read a book for this workout. You can come with your friends with this workout. You got a homegirl who knows what to do. She can lead you through this workout. You are looking for someone to hear you out. This is your therapy, and this is what you're really hiring me about. Okay, so with that said, been doing this for over 15 years now. I've heard it all. And my brother, I just don't agree with that, because that typical story, that's a very typical story. It wears down on you. It wears down on whoever's carrying all that weight. You can do it for all the right reasons. This is for my family, and you're right, but it's going to come at a cost.
So put it like this. I'm of the belief that you can, if living that lifestyle, minimize the material that we have. Like I'm down to live in a smaller crib. Like I gave this example, I think, on the coffee breakup, that you could take 2 scenarios. Take my scenario that I would have my wife at home, right? I make $100,000 a year. Let's say I make $100,000 a year, and my wife makes nothing. She works. She stays at home, right? Now take scenario number 2. We both work, and we both make $75,000 a year. So this household is bringing in $100,000 from me. This household is bringing in $150,000 from both of us. I'd rather have scenario 1 where we're making less money together, but someone's at the crib, someone's playing that role, than to have both of us working and we're making more money. I'd rather have a smaller crib. But the dynamic of a family of that is healthier for the long run, in my opinion.
So I do agree with that scenario. And again, you've done this like 3 or 4 times. You come back at me with the right reference and the right comparison, and there's not much that I can say.
Because there's no right way to feel about this. We're just feeling different ways.
And that's a good scenario, and I agree with that. I just think that typically, unless I don't want to say get lucky, because whether college or the right job or the right amount of years in a certain industry, you can have that $100,000. I don't know what the going rate is, but what does $100,000 do for 4 people in a family? 2 adults, 2 kids. $100,000 is a lot for any single person. That's a lot. It's a lot for a couple, and you're carrying the weight. How good is that for 2 kids, and what age bracket? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so it gets complicated. You're right.
Yeah, and that's it. And then I just start feeling like, damn, man, whoever that person is, they're working, and it comes at a price. They're stressed, they're tired, they're this, they're that. That's all.
Yeah, if my wife has a part-time job, you know what I mean? Like, the thing is, Wes, that I just don't want you to be stressed. I don't like the women and the kids stressing. So if you go to work and you enjoy it, and we both come home and I don't see that it's affecting you and it's taking a toll on you and it's affecting our sex life and we're still fucking like we're like, you know what I mean? You're still genuinely turned on, even though you have to go out here and get the money too. Like, if you're still turned on, could we agree on this, that the sex? Could we say the sex is a good measurement of how the relationship is overall? So if there's no sex, the relationship is a failure, right?
I think that's
because otherwise we're roommates, right? Like, otherwise it's a different type of relationship. Yo, first of all, I want to apologize for the technical difficulties. For the last 15 minutes of this interview, a cable moved and shifted and pitched down our voices for the remainder of the interview, so we sounded like this. So I had to cut out the last 15 minutes of the interview. I want to give a big shout out to my brother Wes from the Black Sheep Perspective. Make sure you follow him and his podcast, The Black Sheep Perspective. That's a good dude right there. Mommy on the rocks, baby. Ow!